If you had an employee who just sat around all day doing nothing, you would fire them. But that is exactly what is happening with most people's money. Their money is sitting in a bank account, lazy, unemployed, and losing value. Every single dollar or every single rand that you earn needs to have a job. You need to assign a job to it. Because if you don't, then that money is going to leave you. That money is going to disappear because it has no direction from you. So in today's video, I want us to assign 4 specific jobs to our money, especially for those of us who want financial freedom. Most people have a problem of asking their money to do the wrong job. You are asking your savings account to build you wealth, but your savings account is not set up in that way. And some are also asking the stock market to keep their money safe for next year, but the stock market can't do that. It's too risky. It's not set up to keep your money safe. And this is exactly why we need to assign the right money to the right timelines, so that your money becomes active employees that are working hard for you to build you wealth. Let's start with job number 1. The first job is the bodyguard. And the purpose of the bodyguard is really to protect you and to keep you safe and secure in times of emergencies. So this is where your emergency fund comes in. And this is the money that steps in when you have a financial emergency. This money covers you. And not only does it protect you and it solves that problem for you, but it's also there to make sure that you don't draw on your investments, you don't sell your investments to cover that emergency, and you don't end up going into debt just for you to solve an emergency. So that is the importance of the bodyguard. The bodyguard is really there. If today you have a car problem, then the bodyguard steps in and you are able to solve that car problem with ease and without you going into debt or you selling your investments. And the mistake that people make when it comes to the bodyguard is they ask, what is my return on my emergency fund? And that is the wrong question to ask. The question that you want to ask here is how accessible it is. It is not about returns, it's about access and of course safety. You want your emergency fund not to disappear, but you also want to make sure that when you get an emergency, that money is accessible. So look out for accounts that you can access at least within 24 hours. You also want to look at accounts that have low fees or no fees at all, and you also want to make sure that it's an account that is giving you the best interest rate available. We are not saying you want to have returns on this money, but since the bodyguard money sits there for a while until you have an emergency, you want at least to pick an account where the interest rate is slightly above the normal interest rate. And when it comes to your bodyguard money, whenever you use it, always replenish. If you go to 0, make sure that it doesn't remain at 0, but you always build it up again and again, so that at any given point, you do have your bodyguard money. Never have 0 when it comes to the bodyguard money, because if you have 0, then you are forced to borrow money, be it from the bank or credit cards or cash loans, or maybe you are even borrowing from family and friends, which is not something that we want. You want to always make sure that if you use up your bodyguard money, you again build it up again, so that next time when you have another emergency, you are able to cover that. And when it comes to this type of money, you are looking at accounts that generally have better interest rates. That could be a high interest call account, high yield savings account, or even a money market account. So whatever you have available with your bank or within your area or wherever you are finding yourself, look out for the accounts that have slightly better interest, that have low fees or no fees at all, and you have access within 24 hours. The second job is the bridge. Your bridge money is the money that you need in the medium term, the money that you need between 3 to 5 years. That is your bridge money. And with your bridge money, you want stability with a bit of growth. This is money that you could need or that you would be putting away to buy a home in maybe 3 years, or you are buying a car, or maybe you are studying, or you are planning a wedding, or you are planning to have a baby. Yes, on this this channel, I want us to plan for the babies, because you want to make provision for the financial cost that comes with having a baby. There is nothing wrong with actually planning and being prepared and making sure that when the baby arrives, you have enough money. And the mistake that I notice people making when it comes to their bridge money, they actually just jump from having money in a savings account to putting money in investments. But what must happen to the money that you need in 2-3 years? Or 4 years? What must happen there? Because you can't put this money in the stock market. Maybe by the year you want that money, let's say in 3 years, the stock market tanks, and then what? Your bridge money is gone. And then you might even be forced to sell low. And when it comes to the stock market, it's always best for you to not sell low. Never sell low. If you can avoid it, you want to sell high and buy low, not the other way around. And not only that, maybe you sell low, you only get out half of the money. Now the other half you have to go and borrow. So it's also getting you into debt. So it's not advisable to actually put your medium-term money in the stock market, because the stock market is risky and it's not predictable. So by the time you want that money, you might not be able to access it. And there are 3 places that you can consider actually for your bridge money. The first one is a money market account. Like I said earlier, money markets, you get slightly better interest, but your money is also fairly safe. You can also look at government bonds, where you have most of the time you get a fixed interest rate, and it's also low risk. But you can also look into a target date fund, and with a target date fund, it actually gets safer as you are getting closer to the date that you need the money. Let's say, for instance, you are planning to have a baby in 3 years. You take out a target date fund and you name it Baby Ashley, and you keep putting money aside for Baby Ashley's arrival. And within 3 years, you are going to have that money for the baby's arrival. And if for some reason the baby does not arrive, you can then redirect that money elsewhere when it comes to your financial goals. It can either go into your investments, maybe you can buy yourself a nice car, or you can go on an island holiday. Whatever it is that you feel you want to do with your money, it's your money. If the initial goal doesn't work out, you can always redirect it to other goals. Job number 3 is the generator. And the generator is there for growth and income. That is where you are putting your money to actually make you more money. And you want to see your generator money more like an engine room. And the best place for your generator money is actually the stock market. A lot of people fear the stock market because they are looking at the short-term fluctuations. But what you need to understand is that the stock market is a long-term play. It's not something that you want to get the money tomorrow. If you want the money tomorrow, you want to put that money in a savings account. But the stock market, you are really looking at 10, 20, 30 years from now. So it's not immediate. And people who are actually serious about growing their money, they are not worried about a 10% drop in the stock market, because they know they are holding this money for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So these fluctuations that are in the short term are not something to worry about when your goal is long term. And for your generator money, you want to look at index funds and ETFs, because these ones are well diversified and they are usually low cost. But you can also look into REITs so that you have access to property without the need for you to deal with tenants. And you can also look at individual stocks and crypto for that aggressive growth that can come to your portfolio. So looking at what is your risk profile when it comes to the stock market, and actually picking out what is best for you based on your financial goals. Like for myself, I love low risk, I love global, I love well diversified, so that I know that if things are not going well somewhere in the world, not everything is affected when it comes to your investments, because there are still other parts that are doing quite well. And if we are being honest, if you are somebody who wants financial freedom, you can't build financial freedom without you actually using your generator money. You want to put this money into assets that have potential to grow and actually bring you more money. So the stock market is not a question when it comes to you building wealth, because it's one of the best places that your money can grow in the long term. Of course, if you want the money next year or the year after, it's better that you put it in a savings account or you put it in government bonds. But for the long term, for the real growth that you are really looking for, the stock market is one of the best places you can actually put your money. Job number 4 is the multiplier. And with the multiplier, it's different from the other 3 jobs that we spoke about, because the first 3 jobs you are dealing with managing money that you already have. But with the multiplier, you are about creating more money, and you create more money through business. If you really look around you, the people who have real money and real freedom are business owners. So if you have been sitting on a business idea for a very long time, it's about time that you revisit it and you really look into implementing it. Sometimes we are sitting on ideas that can work, but because of fear, you never get to try to see whether it works or it doesn't work. And what do you have to lose? Maybe a little bit of money, but really, you never know where your luck is. So this is really where you want to invest money in building a business, whether it's a product-based business or it's a service-based business, so that you can generate more money and you can use that money to actually buy more assets or investments that can bring you more returns. Because even if you look at the richest man in the world, he is a business person. He invented something, or he came up with an idea that actually made a lot of money. But that money from that idea or that product or that service is then channeled into investments, and those investments are what is buying that person passive income. And that passive income is actually what funds most of the wealthy people's lifestyles. You build a business, and that business generates money, and the money that you get from the business, you buy assets, and the assets bring you more money, and that passive money from the assets is when now you are buying your luxury cars, you are doing your island holidays, you are taking your kids to the best education ever, and all of that. So really look into business. That is the best way you can make more money compared to you buying investments. Because in any case, for you to make so much money from the stock market, for instance, you have to put in a whole lot of money. But where does that money come from? It comes from your business. Your job alone, if you are employed, is not really enough for you to build wealth. You also want to have other sources of income that will allow you to buy more assets, and those assets then bring you more passive income. Financial clarity really comes when you stop second guessing yourself and really ask yourself, did I assign jobs to my money? If yes, did I assign the right jobs to my money? And if you haven't, then it's time you look into assigning your money, because then your money will not disappear, but it will go exactly where you need it to go. So already today, ask yourself, where is your bodyguard money? Where have you put that bodyguard money? Is it at the right place? Where did you put your bridge money? What return are you getting on your bridge money? Is your bridge money stable? Ask yourself about your generator money. Where is your generator money? Have you even assigned that job to your money? And then you look at the multiplier. Do you have a business? Do you have a side hustle? Do you have a source of income that allows you to buy assets that can also bring you more income? Really ask yourself. It's a very simple question, but it gives you a lot of clarity in terms of where do you stand currently when it comes to your personal finances. And that way you will really know what is the way forward with my finances. You have a clear picture and a better understanding of how to move forward. So really look at your accounts and check whether your money is really busy making more money for you, or maybe your money is lazing around and actually just losing its value. With that said, let me know in the comments, what jobs is your money currently doing? What jobs have you already assigned, and which ones are you planning to assign to your money? And I'll see you in the next video.